Yesterday, we celebrated the start of what was the Black Power movement in Trinidad and Tobago 1970 at the cathedral, and then there was a march around the square afterwards. And I think it's timely. This is the 50 years anniversary of that event in our lives. And once again, the connections between crime and economic disenfranchisement were made at that ceremony, both by the Archbishop and by the organizers, NJAC, the Emancipation Committee, and others who spoke at those two events. I want to add social marginalization to that pot. So it's not just about economic underdevelopment, and of course in the context of ethnicity, which is what we're talking about, but the marginalization of people in Trinidad and Tobago, the widening gap in terms of poverty and the underbelly of the beast. Many of us think for crime. We will explore this, but they will explore it. I'm just moderating. But what we want to do is to look to the root causes of crime in our society today. And we are referencing it within the context of our most recent project. In December, we got the news that we won a bid through the EU-funded project, Remand and Justice, with special emphasis on women victims of murder and domestic violence victims. And we thought that this whole discussion is part of that whole issue, that big issue of remand and justice. Trinidad and Tobago has the dubious distinction of being the country in the Commonwealth Caribbean with the greatest amount of remand prisoners, both the amount and the periods of time that they spend on remand, awaiting their day in court. Still innocent, because we are innocent until proven guilty. Some people, at least one person, 21 years, waiting on remand, and several 15 years. I see Gayatri Paragas in the audience. She would know when our students visited the prison last year. We discovered by accident, because we went to look generally at remand and justice, but we discovered when we interviewed the women that many of them were there charged for murder, for which in Trinidad and Tobago you can get no bail, instead of manslaughter, but really they were battered women, so battered wife syndrome. So that is the context of our project, but it fits into the wider issue of the criminal justice system, some might say the criminal injustice system, and of course the links with crime, with poverty, with all of these things that we are now beginning to realize is very important, because we know who are in the jails. It's basically one set of people we are finding in the jails, whether in remand or whether convicted. So there's a story to be told there, and has to do with our society and how we treat people and how we are not dealing with issues. So what's happening in the jails, I think, reflects how far we are willing or not willing to go in terms of confronting these social ills. So we are very fortunate to have this very knowledgeable panel and a wide diversity, and I'll introduce them in turn. The university, I think, must always be relevant to its society, and yesterday, Jack and Camban and others reminded us of this. Once again, you might have seen it splashed all over the newspapers today, because again, the Black Power movement started right here at the university. Well, it started in Canada, but then in terms of the Trinidad leg of it, it was the University of the West Indies, McCandle Dagger, who was the guild president. We have our McCandle Dagger scholar in the audience. So we were rooted in that cause. We were relevant. We were proactive in the 1970s. And perhaps along the way, we lost some of that. And now our vice chancellor, and more recently our principal, Copeland, is reminding us of that role, to be an activist university. It doesn't mean that we always have to speak. And we are not speaking today, really. We are letting others speak. Our project is a 3-year project funded by the EU, as I mentioned. So we will have other events which will focus specifically on remand and justice. We are partnering with the Cropper Foundation, so you'll see Omar flitting around, he's helping us organize.